Hello students, welcome for today's e-learning session of Sri GM Dunda Primary School. Subject of the day is English. So students, today we are going to start the sixth prose of our Honeydew textbook. This is Geordie's Fawn. Geordie is the name of the boy and Fawn is the baby deer. So in this story, Geordie's father has been bitten by a rattlesnake. He quickly kills a doe and uses its heart and liver to draw out the poison. Geordie wonders what will happen to the little fawn left without a mother. So students, trust me, his father has not willingly killed that doe. It was required, okay? To save his own life, he had to kill it, okay? So here, in the first scene, Geordie is always remembering of the fawn, whether he had eaten something or not, whether he got another company award, whatever. Always he is thinking about that fawn. Meanwhile, he asks his father about his health condition, to which his father is replying, yes, he is good now. And Penny is appreciating him for being calm in such a difficult situation also. Here you can see in the picture, Geordie is talking to his father about that fawn only, right? So he tries to insist his father to bring the fawn at home because just because of his father, his mother has died. So it will be injustice with the fawn to leave him alone there in the jungle. So his father is convinced now. He tries to convince his mother as well. So his mother is very much nervous about his food. How much she is nervous about how would she be able to feed that fawn. So he assures his mother that it will feed on the milk, then it will grown up and then start eating grass and nuts also. So there won't be any problem, as he assures his mother. So Melville is also a character who takes Geordie to the spot where he had lastly seen that fawn. Meanwhile, they are having some conversation also on the way about whether they would be able to get that fawn or not. If they get a fawn, so how will they come to know whether it is that particular fawn? So here again Geordie assures him that he would be able to get it. In the second scene, Geordie gave himself over to thoughts of the fawn again. So they pass the abandoned clearing. Here, Geordie is explaining Melville about the direction where he had lastly seen that fawn. So suddenly Geordie was unwilling to have Melville with him. Why? Because if the fawn was dead or could not be found, he could not have his disappointment seen. He wanted to hide his disappointment as well as the happiness from Melville. Happiness was about to, if he gets the fawn. Okay. So he said him to leave. But Melville was afraid whether if he got lost or bitten by the snake, so what would happen? So he assures him that he will take care of himself. Now he insisted him to go. Anyhow, Melville was convinced and he left. Now he started again searching for that fawn. On the way, he sees the buzzards sat in a circle around the carcass of the doe. They turned their heads on their long, scrawny necks and hissed at him. He threw his bow at them and they flew into an adjacent tree. Adjacent tree means the tree next to him. So he started searching for the footprints, but he could see of the footprints of the big cats only, but not at that of the fawn. So he is still continuing for searching for that fawn. Now in the third scene, it was the moment Geordie was awaiting for. Here he had found that fawn. Here in this paragraph, the pleasant experience between both of them has been shared. How pleasant was it to touch, and how pleasing was his eyes. They were so satisfied with themselves, like everything they have got. There was a little bit shivering in fawn, but he tried not to stir. Then he tries to touch the fawn, and it's so pleasant. Its skin was so soft and shiny. Even a sweet scent of grass was there. He rose slowly and lifted the fawn from the ground. Its legs hung limply. They were surprisingly long, and he had to hoist the fawn as high as possible under his arm. Its legs were too long. Okay, so he took him towards the home. So he was afraid whether it sees its mother or smells, so it would start kicking or bleating, and then those birds will come behind them, right? So he was very much afraid about that, so he tried to change the route. He skirted the clearing and pushed his way into the thicket. It was too difficult to him to fight through with this burden. The fawn's legs caught up in the bushes and he could not lift his own with freedom. So he tried to shield its face from prickling vines. Its head bobbed with his stride, with his heart thumped with the marvel of its acceptance of him. He reached a trial, matlab, it means there are were lot of struggle involved in his reaching the home, having that fawn. So all the struggles have been mentioned here in these two paragraphs. He said, enchanted, I will carry you over, I get my breath. He remembered his father saying that a fawn would follow if it had first been carried. So he tries for the same, but he started away slowly. The fawn stared after him, he came back to it and stroked it and walked away again. It took a few wobbling steps toward him and cried piteously. It was willing to follow him. It belonged to him, it was his own now. Okay, so now both have been friends, as we can see. So now his arms began to ache because he could not carry him so long. He was forced to stop again. When he walked on, the fawn followed him at once. He allowed it to walk a little distance, then picked it up again. As they were friendly, so he could not bear the fawn to be much tired. So, anyhow, they were at no distance from home. He could have walked all day and into the night, carrying it and watching it follow. He was wet with sweat now, but there was some cool breeze of morning which made him cool. The sky was all clear now, it was fresh and green after the night's rain. He fumbled with the latch and was finally obliged to set down the fawn to manage it. Then he had an idea. He was having idea about to enter the home into Penny's bedroom with the fawn walking behind him. But at the steps, fawn barked and refused to climb them. Bark means was unwilling to walk. He picked it up and went to his father, Penny lay with closed eyes. But he tried to see something and said that he was glad that Geordie has been successful to find the fawn. Now Geordie went to kitchen to have some milk for fawn, and he tried to make it drink. So how he poured milk into a small gourd, he held it out to the fawn, he buttered it suddenly. Smelling the milk, he saved it precariously from spilling over the floor. It could make nothing of the milk in the gourd. So it means if milk had been drawn, so nothing would be left for fawn. Okay, so he dipped his finger in the milk and thrust them into the fawn's soft red mouth. It sucked greedily. Then he withdrew them. It bleated frantically and butted him. He dipped his finger again. Means repeatedly he was doing this thing till the milk got over. The last of the milk vanished in a swirl of foam and gurgling. It means they both have become friends. Now Fawn was happy to get a company as well as food. And students, this story has been given by Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings. Okay. So here we have come towards the end of today's e-learning session. I hope you have understood the chapter very well. Now go to the link also for your detailed understanding and then computer writing works. Thank you. Have a nice day.